worry, Carrie, you're not alone. You have other friends that have joined you. Good morning to Adam and then Albert. Hello, Morgan. Good morning to you. Carrie, I think you were first on YouTube again, right? Let me double check. You were. You and Ann were battling it out today. Hey, Jeff. Watching on X. Appreciate you. Hello to Angela. And Storm Chaser Jason Hamilton. Morgan's on as well. Good morning, everybody. Everyone's slowly but surely trickling in. Yeah, it's probably one of those, it's a case of the Mondays on a Thursday. Kind of makes sense, though, right? Right. Hello, Angela. Hope all is well. A lot to cover here today with the cooler weather, of course, and the outlook through at least next week. And some interesting trends as we get toward the end. I got a couple maps I'm going to share with you guys. But first, as always the case, we've got to do a very important announcement. And that is the winter forecast. It is not that far away. Oh, yes, oh, yes, oh, yes. Just a few more weeks here. And we get into the winter outlook for 2025, 2026 on Halloween night. Make sure to have the Wave Weather app. That is going to be crucial on getting that first notification, including the snow map. That will be out as well. All right. Hello, everyone. I am Wave Meteorologist Brian Goode on this Thursday. Several things we're going to hash out today, as I mentioned. In the short term, we'll talk about some of these overnight lows, and then we'll get into a bit of the longer term aspects of next week as well, at least a hint of next week that will come into play. Let me start you off, though, with a really pretty shot this morning. This is coming in from the Harvest Homecoming area there in New Albany. All the tents are up, ready to go, ready for a busy weekend there into New Albany. Should be a good time, and it should be really fantastic weather, too, for those that are heading out for this upcoming weekend. So I don't see any issues weather-wise there. Maybe a few clouds, and that's about it. That's minor. You guys can handle that. No worries on that. All right, lows this morning. Well, Louisville dropped to 53 for a low this morning. That wind did stay up a bit during the overnight. It was tough to get it completely relaxed. We had a lot of 40s elsewhere. The coldest I was able to find, or coolest, was at a 41, and that was in Meade County. And we had a few spots there, as you see, at 43 into Bedford, Indiana. So I didn't see any 30s recorded in our area. Your home gauge may say something different, but these are gauges that we can record data off from that I'm referring to. But they did not make it into the upper 30s. Now, tonight stands a better chance because tonight was kind of iffy, or last night, this morning was kind of iffy because we knew the wind was still going to be slowly winding down. Tonight, that wind relaxes to near calm levels, and that should really allow for these numbers to drop even more than what you see here. So it'll be interesting to see what this map looks like tomorrow. How much have we climbed since then? Well, pretty decent climb. I mean, Louisville's only about 1 degree up. But it's still early. It's still early day. It's not even 10 o'clock. 54 as you head toward E-Town. Hold on one second. Okay. That was a close one. As I said before, I've never sneezed on TV, and I'm refusing to sneeze live now. Ragweed's still getting me. Thank goodness for all these buttons. My panic buttons all work. Love that. All right, so 54 here, 54 into E-Town. It's going to be a nice day today. Temperatures probably a smidge lower than what we had for highs. Yesterday we made it to about 72, 73. It'll be really tough to get above 70 today, really tough because we're starting off a little lower. All right, the drought index updated today. All righty. Well, we knew this was going to be a little wonky just because if we didn't know how much of Tuesday's rain event was going to be factored in. It looks like some of it was. I don't think all of it was, to be honest, because some of this certainly indicates a little bit of Monday's rain, too, that fell into Hardin County, into parts of Hardin County, into Breckenridge and Meade. But you can certainly see that it's taking out a big chunk of the area along that rain path. Technically, it's abnormally dry is the lowest of the drought categories. That's where Louisville is. Some argue whether or not it's really a drought status. If you are in abnormally dry, not quite too drought. To me, if you're colored in, you're in a low wind drought status. This is my personal opinion. Otherwise, don't make it too complex for you guys at home to try to understand. You shouldn't have to do, all kinds of science experiments to figure out what this map means. All right. That there is still a low end drought scenario, but no doubt the rain that we had took a big breath out of that because it was getting out of control, and we've got it under control now. Now, yes, it's going to be dry for the next week, but the forecast naturally for this time of the year typically is for dry. So when you're on the right path anyway on the amount of rain you're expected to get, and you don't deviate too much from that, then the end result is the drought map is not going to change a lot next time it does come through. So I don't think this is going to be a huge issue for us into the coming weeks ahead, but at least we had a nice little chunk taken out of it. Now, I do think the other part that would reflect the reality, and I mentioned this for the southern counties and northern counties, that the map probably would reflect a little more reality for you, and I agree with that because you got the least amount of rain. So a moderate drought for Greene, Taylor, and Adair, parts of Marion. Yeah, I think it's fair. I think you're likely in that status. And on the flip side, up to Indiana, you likely as well for far northern areas, the Jackson County, Jennings, maybe northern Jefferson County, but you can see how worse it gets as you head toward Illinois, right, and toward Indianapolis. So there are areas surrounding us still in pretty bad shape because our rainfall that we had along the Ohio River was an anomaly. In fact, let me zoom out. Let me clear off all my drawings. Here we go. Let me zoom out so you can see that the rainfall that we had that passed through with these tropical rains, even down into areas of the mountains into eastern and Kentucky and Tennessee. I mean, it was a pretty obvious little hole that has formed here, right? A nice improvement right in that spot, and then drought conditions kind of all surround us here. But anyway, nothing major, but we got the rain. Should allow for some nice fall color, which I'm excited about into coming weeks. Right now, it's another beautiful day across Wave Country. No issues at all. Can't even see the clouds. And then again, I can't really see the monitor, so it's kind of fair. But anyway, nice and clear today. A lot of blue sky overhead. The tropics are still active, and that's not going to change anytime really soon. It's hard to see. Let me see if I can draw it here. This is Priscilla, way out here in the Eastern Pacific. Some of its moisture, by the way, may get pulled into a couple of these fronts in the Rockies next week. I don't think it's going to have a direct influence yet, but something to watch as it goes through the monsoon season. Tropical wave that at first had signs it may develop in the Bay of Campeche, but has crossed over Central America and through Mexico, and now it's trying to reemerge again in the Eastern Pacific, where it will likely get a name there, more than likely. I think it's pretty much safely out of any Atlantic or Gulf influence. And then here's Jerry trying to hold on. Jerry's had some problems, a lot of wind shear. Jerry moves so fast that it's literally got the sunroof open and its hair's flying in the wind kind of thing. So it it needs to slow down if it's going to organize. Otherwise, it's going to rip its hair right off. So that's the biggest issue with Jerry. So that's why we haven't had a whole lot of talk about it. But either way, still the outlook has it turning out to sea. What is of more interesting note for us is just the idea that the front that came through here the other day still has a strong signal of this becoming a hybrid type system of tropical and a typical low pressure. I think this will be technically a coastal low, and looks more cold core, and which means it likely will not get a name, but it will influence the Northeast as a nor'easter, and it's going to be a mess. A lot of high winds, beach erosion, flooding on the beaches themselves, some of the streets, including Charleston, especially in high tide. We call these keen tides when they happen during supermoon periods too. So we've got a lot of activity here along the I-95 corridor. So if you have travel plans here through this weekend, while it may look quiet now, there will be some delays that will be showing up in this area of the country this weekend, especially by air travel, because a lot of the planes will have to fly around all this mess. So plan accordingly. So those are a lot of big hubs that are going to be impacted this weekend. But because it's ongoing and spinning here into the eastern seaboard, it's a sign of the block we've talked about in the Atlantic. The Atlantic is closed, so this has nowhere to go. It's going to just hang out here for a good 10 days. May drift a little bit east for a while, maybe a little bit south, then go back east again. It's just going to wander. It's going to be on the map for a while. All right, so it's a shame it doesn't have a name because we're going to be mentioning coastal low nor'easter over and over and over again. So to have a name would be easier, right? But what it does for us, though, is it jams up the rest of the weather pattern. So all these different fronts that are dropping in across the Rockies that are trying to reach us, they really can't. they're backlogged as well. So that keeps us in what I like to call the Goldilocks zone, where we enjoy some nice weather in the short term, especially in beautiful blue skies and cool nights and warm afternoons. Now, as far as the cool weather goes, I was looking at the frost and freeze alerts for tonight. I'm good now. I let that one pass. Okay, so the the frost and freeze alerts that were out last night for around near Indianapolis and points north have already been taken out. Could we get more issued later on today? Yeah, it's possible we could get them extended a little more down to the south. It wouldn't surprise me, but I think it's gonna be so patchy, it's gonna be hard to put an advisory out for it. But I do think again it'll be colder tonight. Okay, so as far as the weekend goes, one minor thing to watch for the weekend as we evolve into Saturday. First off, here's today. Again, beautiful weather tonight, chilly, some 30s, patchy frost, you betcha. We get into tomorrow and into Saturday. Now, notice the clouds increased. These clouds are really attached to another low pressure located a little further north than Lake Erie. But this, interestingly enough, is going to feed right into the coastal low that is near DC. It'll get pulled into it, but it's going to happen fast. It's going to just grab it and pull it on over. So there's very little in the way of moisture with this other than cloud cover. So because of that, I really don't see any rain chance for the weekend. We're going to add a 10% only because you can get a sprinkle, maybe even a brief shower. Possibly it can happen, but I don't think it's anything that you need to be aware of to plan around. It does look very, very minor. The air is still quite dry. But cloud cover, yes, I do think that will increase. I don't know why I'm playing this pencil. The cloud cover will increase. So that I do think is a little more likely than anything. But again, most of its moisture will be pulled into that coastal low. So again, mainly staying dry this weekend. No weather worries there. We're looking good. It may prevent us from getting too chilly at night, but cool during the day as well. So the coldest overall that I see between now and through this weekend is going to be tonight. After that, still some chilly nights, but not as cool as what tonight will be. Probably I should just said that sentence and moved on. Next week's setup. Well, we got the coastal low. All right, you're going to see that. It's right there. Here it is, getting its act together, blowing up, heading up the I-95 corridor, heading toward southern areas of the Delmarva Peninsula and eventually into Rhode Island, maybe even south of Boston. Here's the mini-me that it grabbed from our region. It's pulling it in, and that's why the clouds kind of were draped over Kentucky. It's kind of pulling the main low into it. So our clouds here in our area will just fade out by Sunday. But again, not worried about rain. These two team up and allow for them to be just a big complex of rain and more beach erosion kind of idea there. And you see our next front, it's trying its best to march in our area, but it's struggling because this is moving so slow that it's just getting us stuck in our whatever weather pattern we're in. And we're lucky enough that our weather pattern that we're stuck in happens to be a beautiful one. So hopefully no complaints there. Could we get up to 80 degrees during this window? Yes, we could hit 80. I don't see us going much more than that. I think a lot of 70s, 75, 77, 78s, that kind of stuff. One or two spots could hit 80. Yes. Don't panic. It's not, summer coming back. It's just, that's normal to get into an 80-degree range in October. But anyway, that's going to be early to maybe mid next week. But then we got to keep an eye on the system that is in the plains because eventually our coastal low will move away. And as it does so, that will be just enough room now to allow for this one to dive in. But it's going to dive in at an angle. So as we get into the weekend, especially starting Friday and Saturday. So this is next weekend I'm referring to, not this weekend. But next weekend, this low will take a dive to the south and east. Could give us some rain out of it as it does so. More importantly, it's going to allow for a backdoor cold front. And now we've got the former coastal low that I was just talking about combines with another low pressure in eastern Canada and become this mega trough here for the Nova Scotia area and New England. What a mess. I mean, this is going to be chilly rain and snow for New England. Very cold and miserable. Some wind chills as well. Not exactly what I'm sure a lot of folks in the Northeast are going to be excited about, but it is going to be quite gloomy as we head toward the 18th, 19th, somewhere around the next weekend time period. Now, we're going to be close enough to it. We're going to feel the effects of that. We're going to be seeing our drop take place here, where we should drop into the not only 60s for highs, but we may end up in the 50s for highs with this type of setup as we head down the road. And I was looking even at the trends on the euro. Let me bring this full screen. You guys sometimes love looking at this. And these are all each model runs. The oldest model run about the current pattern is way up here at the very top. And the bottom row, these are just highs. Highs are in the top box, right? So just the highs here in the top box. And notice in the most recent runs, they're all showing a cooler trend into the very extended outlook. After the 18th and 19th, there's a couple 70, 71s, but there's a lot of cooler numbers showing up there compared to what we have had as of late. And you look at your overnight lows, here's the current cool wave we're in now. There's a little bit of moderation to next week, although the most recent runs are wiping that out. And then certainly a lot of blue showing up as we head into the extended, a lot of 40s and 50s. So what you don't see a lot of dark red here indicating a heat wave. You don't see a lot of oranges and yellows indicating warm overnight lows. This is true fall weather of temperatures in the 50s and 60s, maybe at 70, and lows in the 30s and 40s at night. That gains a little more confidence in the forecast when you see the trends on that and how it tries to hold up. Who is I'll talk in a minute. KSDF stands for Stanford Field, which is what we referred to Louisville International for many years. Stanford Field is the original name. So we call it Muhammad Ali International Airport now. But the identifier is still KDSF in meteorology and for aviation. So you will always see, especially the SDF, you'll see that on your airport luggage tag when you go to the airport, so that the bags know which airport to take you to. All right. But good question. All right, let's get into the 10-day. And you'll see everything I just described. The increase in clouds this weekend as that little coastal low pulls in some moisture and steals it from us. But it may give us a few clouds. Otherwise, we'll warm up. And then at the very end of the 10-day, you start to see signs of the backdoor front that will drop down and cooling down. So we'll stay in the 70s until it moves through. So Saturday may be one of those half and half days where we may be around 70, but the rain showers will be possible. But if we were to extend this one more day, and we will, for the afternoon news today, you should see it being much cooler than what Saturday is listed. So there you go. Not a bad setup, right? Jeremy, what's the status of the November 5th flurries? That data will be out tomorrow. I will have that in your lovely little matrix look at data coming up tomorrow on the blog. So make sure to tune in tomorrow morning, and we'll go through the Halloween outlook into early November. Fair enough. I thought you were having a brain freeze. No, I was just muting the mic in case I did sneeze. I just didn't want you all to have to hear that. So I didn't sneeze. In any case, I held it back. But now I'm crying. Let's see. All right, everyone looks good. Listen, this is good stuff, guys. Get outside, enjoy it. Enjoy being out in this beautiful weather. Get some yard work done if you need to. You're running behind on. If you need to winterize your patios, get all the patio furniture put up, and get everything ready for some chilly weather before we get back into the rain and chilly air, which is really hard to take care of the yard like that when it gets to that level. So take advantage of these sunnier days to do just that. And I will look over some of the data for the weekend. I'll have more of that coming up today on Wave News at midday at 11 o'clock. All right, take care, everyone. I'll see you on the flip side.